Greetings and welcome to this video lesson for the Walk the Moon song, Shut Up and Dance. Easily one of the coolest songs from the last decade. Oh man, I probably shouldn't say things like that because it dates this video, but whatever. Also, probably one of the best charts I've ever written out because I was able to find access to the stems for the individual guitar tracks online, and I was able to really take my time and write this chart out excellently. So I think we'll have a really good time playing through it. It's a 3-pager, and if you're trying to find the chart, it's down in the description of the video below. So go down there and click on the blue link and you can download the handout for this video. Anyways, without further ado, let's talk about this intro. So this intro could sit very well by itself, just as playing electric guitar or acoustic guitar, really whatever, and just play exactly what's written. But let's talk real quick about the effects used on this, and this will be the last thing we talk about for effects for the whole song. A little bit of overdrive, so we've got just a little tiny bit of grit, and probably using something like the bridge pickup of a Strat if it's a single coil. I don't have a single coil on this Strat, so I'm going to use the middle pickup because it's my brightest, thinnest sound. And so what I have right now, if I play, is just this. And that's it. But if I add a little bit of delay, this is a dotted eighth note delay, and that dotted eighth note tempo, so this is the tempo of the song just about, so that's about what it's tapped to. And so the dotted eighth note delay is going to repeat every 3/16 notes. So this is our beat. It's going to go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. Oh man, I got to do this over here. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2. That kind of way. And so as I play, you'll notice if I play on that beat in eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I'm going to get this perfectly spaced every other note kind of effect, right? I'm palm muting that just a little bit too. You can play it open. But I wanted you to be able to hear the delays. And if you palm mute it, you're able to get a little bit more percussion out of it. So it kind of goes thunk, 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 versus just like a wide open sort of chord, right? You don't get quite as much of the percussiveness. Anyways, on top of that, I'm pretty much convinced that they're doubling. Just some really intense rakes if you listen to it. Let's see. I think it's both a rake or something like that. They might start something like that. So I actually made a loop down here of some rakes. And so those rakes are just going to go while I play the part. They're a little quiet. Turn up the rakes a little bit. And I think that's the most accurate representation of the tone for that intro part. Anyways, so enough of the effects. Let's go back to a clean tone and just kind of play through the whole thing. So we've got this intro part, and how we play it, we're going to put a bar on 9 on the first 2 strings, and we're going to add our second finger to 10 on the 3rd string, and we're going to anchor our pinky, slant our pick just a little bit down toward the left knee, and we're going to go down, down, up. So we're doing economy picking here, trying to pick toward wherever the next note is going to live. So we're going to play through those 3 notes, going down, down, up. We're going to add our 3rd finger to the mix. We're going to keep the 2nd finger on though. And this guy just goes down, down, up, down, up. So the first measure all the way through, down, down, up. 3rd finger added, down, up. Then we're going to go right back to the 10 again. So take off the 3rd finger. That's why we kept our 2nd finger on. And then we're going to change to this chord, 8, 9, 9. And I'm refingering the whole thing, 1st finger on the 8 of the 3rd string, middle finger and 3rd finger on the 2 9s. You could also just bar the 9 with 2nd finger. And if you do the bar with the 9 2nd finger, you don't have to worry about getting your 1st finger curved because your bar is going to be hitting on top of anything that your 1st finger would accidentally be fretting or silencing. So you can just have your 1st finger nice and relaxed on 8, kind of flat, and that'll sound pretty nice. So we're going to go through that all the way from the top. It goes 10, 9, 9, 11-9-9, 11-9, 10-9-9, 8-9-9, 8-9. And then we're gonna repeat that 4 times. When you're done playing that, we're now in the third measure of that top line on page 1. It's going to go through 10-9-9, 11-9-9, 11-9, back to the 10-9-9, 8-9, and that is going to go to 13 with your first finger on the 3rd string. Second finger is going to go to 14 of the 2nd string, and your pinky will go to 16 on the 1st string, and we're just going to go down, up, down, up, down, out, like that. And you can just slide it off. And that would do it for a little bit. And you could kind of come into this little instrumental part a little bit later if you had to. I just kind of avoid doing the first 2 rakes, but you could do the first 2 rakes as well. So that's coming out of that going. This is from the 3rd measure of the top line. Kind of complicated. What I'd recommend, if that's hard to get from the 8-9, to think about 2 things. The first way is the slightly hard way. The slightly hard way is keep this shape, move it into 13 and 14, add your pinky, and you're good to go. So keep those as guide fingers. Don't try to go rebuild the shape over here because you don't need to. You can just hold those down, bring it over here. The easy way to do this would be just to ignore the 8-9, and I would go like this. Like that. So take your time to get to that high chord and just ignore 8-9. The other way would be ignore all these high, there's actually a third option. Ignore this high stuff and just do the intro one more time. And then go down to the 6. So now for the interlude, which is the INT on the 2nd line, we're gonna use 3rd finger on 6 on the 3rd string, and we're going to silence behind the fret. This is called back fretting, when you silence behind a fret like this. We're gonna silence all 6 strings with our first 2 fingers while our 3rd finger's engaged on that 6. So that's kind of like the main idea. When you strum all the strings, you'll hit just that 6 because everything else is being silenced, right? You're gonna start without pressure with the 3rd finger. So you're just gonna be ready to go, and you're gonna go down, up, and then you're gonna go down on the 6. And that's gonna continue through this whole thing with alternating strums. So you're gonna go down, up, 6, up, down, 6, down, up, 6, up, down, 6, down, up, 6, 6. So all together. That was the first measure of the 2nd line with the first repeat. That was the same part again, a little faster. The best way to practice that is going to be practice that little group of 3, X, X, 6. And do that starting with different strokes. So down, up. I missed it though. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So we're getting a group of 3, but of course this is an even number, down, up, right? So if you're doing a group of 3, it's gonna repeat every 6 strums if you're trying to kind of find a pattern. So down, up, down, down, right? So that all might be too complicated of an explanation for that. Just practice alternating the strums on that and adding pressure with 3rd finger whenever you have a 6. You can just keep the first 2 fingers draped. It's a really simple, small motion with the left hand. It's easy to overcomplicate it though. So if that's too hard though, just play 1 string and alternate the strokes on that 1 string. I think it's actually easier just to strum wildly with the right hand and not worry too much about individual strings though. So that is gonna happen 4 times for the interlude. It's gonna happen another 7 times for our verse. And then we have this D flat chord, and that's gonna come in on the 2nd beat of this measure here. So the verse's last round of those 6 and rakes is gonna sound like this into those power chords at the end of the line. So here's the verse with no repeats into that power chord part. So that's going 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and, so 2 and 3 and 4 and, something like that. Then we have pre-chorus. Pre-chorus is now focusing on just one of the guitars. There are, I think, 3 guitars playing right now. We've got an acoustic guitar and then 2 electric guitars. So right now we're playing guitar 1's part, which is going to be a low power chord part, and we're going to do this all the way until pre-chorus number 2. Pre-chorus number 2, we're going to use guitar 2 because I think it's cool to kind of explore both options. Now, one thing I want to make really clear, this pre-chorus guitar 1, chorus guitar 1, all this stuff you could do every single time you see a pre-chorus or a chorus. Just kind of play what guitar 1 is doing, and that would be perfect for the whole song if you don't want to learn an extra part. But I think the other parts are so sick that it's really worth your time to learn all of it if you're going to learn this at all, because it helps you learn about songwriting, arranging different guitar parts for a song, and just trying to think about different tonal and placement options in a song, because this is using like a really, really distorted guitar on the low spectrum. And I can even pull up the session and show you some of these different guitars. So the guitar we're playing right now is going to sound basically like this. Now a little bit of that right guitar, the right guitar, or guitar 2 sounds like this. Here's both together. So together we've got this kind of like thinner, kind of, slightly overdriven guitar tone, but then we have the really like beefy one. So let's start pre-chorus with this beefy guitar and see how it goes. So it's going to be a 1 and 4, kind of stretchy chord. Starting on pre-chorus, we're going to have an 8th note rest, so you want to wait for that first beat and play on the upstroke, or the upbeat of this next. Oh man, I've said a lot of words. Let me start that over. So we're going to wait the first beat, play on the next up beat. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. That's how that pre-chorus goes. So we have the stretch, and we just kind of collapse the shape. Then we have another 8th note rest as we change over into 4 and 6. Expand that one. This is also changing strings. Make sure you're on 5th string and 4th string. And then it goes back to the top string, down. And I like pinky for all these chords. I think that's the easiest way to play it. Then we go back to 1 and 4. Rake 4. Kind of quick. Right, and those are some 16th note rakes. Just down up, down up, down up. And then we start the chorus for guitar 1, which slowly is like this. Back to interlude. And that's all of the interlude for line number 4. Line 5 has more interlude, but this part we're going to go over to 8, and we're going to do a gradual slow bend for a whole step. Like that after we do a couple of 6s. So the beginning of line 5, pardon me, that's a little right there. Okay, cool, pretty good. So beginning of line 5, we have, and I'm just kind of silencing behind. I'm just using my 3rd finger to pull. You kind of have to be careful here. You do this a lot of different ways. You use 2 fingers to bend. This is probably the hardest part of the song, is keeping it silent while also doing the rakes and bending that 8 a little bit. So my advice would be, if you want to make this like kind of simple, I would do the X's and the 6 and just go find the 8 on your own and not have any of the other rakes happening at the same time as the 8, and just play the note all by itself. Verse 2 is the same as verse 1, 7 passes, but now we're focusing on guitar 2. So we're not going to play the D flat, thing we did earlier, we're gonna do a bar on 6 on the 4th string through 2nd string. So it's gonna go 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Yeah, I'm kind of adding weird emphasis to that. It's going 1, 2, and 3, and 4. That's how it should feel. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And you can use your 3rd finger to bar. Then just roll your 3rd finger up to the fingertip while you play this little triad shape, 6, 5, 4. So we're going. Then we're gonna do 1st finger bar on those 6s again, because your next chord, you're gonna keep that bar, add 3rd finger to 8 on the 4th string, and 2nd finger to 7 on the 2nd string. We're gonna go back to 6, back to that triad shape we played a second ago, 6, 5, 4. Then we're just gonna move it down 2 frets. So everything from pre-chorus 2 so far, it's the end of line 5, beginning of line 6. Then the next part goes. Kind of similar to what we did earlier with those power chords. Bar, bar, chord, chord. Then we move down to this. It's like a triad, but we actually bar a little bit on the bottom with the 4. Then we have more rakes. Awesome, page 2. This chorus for guitar 2 is actually easier than the first chorus, I think. Maybe not. It's probably easier. It's just, it's still pretty easy though. So it's a bunch of 4s, and we're gonna go 4, 4, 4, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. So it's a single note the whole way through. You're not reading that wrong. It's that easy. No palm mutes, no nothing weird. It's just a group of 3 and then a group of 5. So 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5. Then here we have some 6 and 4 quarter notes, but they're staccato. That's why they have the big dot above them. You want them to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're very short, punchy notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go back to the 4 for a group of 3. Then the 9s, 6 to 4. Now, the second measure of the second line of the second page, this guy is gonna have this little walk up. Lots of ways you can do it. You could use your 1st finger for the whole thing. You could go 1st, 3rd, 1st, 2nd. That's pretty comfortable. I'm a fan of that one. I also like 1st, 2nd, pinky, pinky. Or 1st, 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 2nd. Really lots of great ways to play this that are all very technically accurate to play. 1st, 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 1st is probably the least best way to play that. It's dumb. It's the worst way to play that. Don't play it like that. It's probably dumb. Try to mix and match the fingers a bit. Then we have our staccato markings again. 2. This is a 2 and 4 power chord. And we just kind of build it up for a couple of measures. Then we have the bridge. Now the bridge here, I decided to write like a duet. So lines 3 and 4 are happening at the same time. That's why they have these little brackets on either side. You want to make sure that you don't play line 3 and then go play line 4. Those are the same part. They're just 2 different guitars. Let's talk about the first part first. It's definitely the hardest. Now let's do the easy part first. So this is the bottom one. This is line 4. This is the easy way to play the bridge. This is during the synthesizer solo, by the way. This is a 6 and 8 power chord. I messed up a little bit. Just groups of 3 and 5 still. So it's going 6, 9, 2, 4. Just play a group of 3 for 6, a group of 5 for 9, group of 3 for 2, and a group of 5 for 4. And you'll do that 3 times, and then you're gonna go 6, 6, 9, 9, 2, 2, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Yeah. So 6, 6, 9, 9, 2, 2, 1, 2. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's kind of the feel of the end of line 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's that simple. Just a bunch of power chords. The high part, or on line 3 here, the harder part to play that, or harder way to play that bridge, is a is 16th notes instead of 8th notes. So you're going to be going ticka 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 with the right hand the whole time, and we've got some octave shapes. So this part's a little bit hard to do. It's probably the hardest part of the song besides that bend. It's a 6 and 9 octave across third and first strings with a rake in the middle. I'm just silencing my first string, my second string with my first finger. So I've got third string ringing on 6, X on second string, and 9 on the bottom. So this guy's gonna go, I messed up a little bit already. I'm also kind of silencing my fourth string with my fingertip to make that guy shut up a little bit so I can play this a little bit cleaner. Of course, that's way slowed down, right? In between on those rakes, I'm releasing my pressure because you don't want this 9 to ring, and I'm draping my middle 2 fingers very relaxed into those strings. So by the end of it, or during the rakes, it's just all kind of quiet. That's what the whole 2-bar section feels like. Let's get a little faster. Here's full speed. What's funny about this is I'm actually noticing something about how I'm playing this that I didn't point out the first time. I'm actually leaving those down the whole time, these middle 2 fingers. And whenever I'm adding pressure, what's happening is whenever I push my third string in, it's pulling the third string away from these flat fingers, allowing it to ring. I'm not moving these 2 fingers at all. I'm just moving my first finger on and off. It's kind of cool. And then pinky, I'm just relaxing. So I'm actually leaving these guys on, these middle 2 fingers on the whole time. And it's all about just subtle pressure with these 2 fingers. And you have to make kind of a flat bridge across that for that to work. If you're kind of gumming your way into that third string, that's not going to work very good. You have to be pretty relaxed with the whole thing. It looks way easier than it is, right? Because I'm just literally, it looks like I'm just sitting here. It's kind of funny. Looks like I'm not even like actually playing the part, but that's what it is. And then we switch after those 2 bars that repeat 3 times. This is still line 3. End of line 3, we do 8th notes into 16th notes, back to 8th notes, 16th notes, etc. So it's gonna go. And that's gonna bend up as well. Right? So we're going 8, 8, chicka, 8, 8, chicka, 8, 8, chicka, down, 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 down. And those are all 8th notes at the end. And those kind of match that. Then it goes straight to pre-chorus number 3, which is really similar to pre-chorus 2. We're still playing guitar 2 because it's more fun. It's those triads. So, 2 notable changes here between pre-chorus 2 and pre-chorus 3. Pre-chorus 3 has these rakes. It's also a little longer, right? Pre-chorus 3 is definitely longer, but it's got those rakes in there, which is kind of cool. So you're gonna go from the beginning, da 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 da, da 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 da, huh, da 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 da. It's kind of a cool extra little thing. Also, the very end. This is the other change: is we don't do any 16th note rakes. We just go and let it build up. We don't chigga 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 our way into the chorus, because as we see on page 3, which is the next part, we are going to do an instrumental, which is going to do the same thing as the intro again. So we're going to go right back to 5 times. After that, so this is the 3rd measure of the top line of page 3, you're going to go. That's it. Then we rest for a full measure, and then we do our final chorus. So that guy again, this is that 3rd measure. That's a very difficult fast change. That takes this song from a 5 or 6 to like a 7 or 8, right? Just by the necessity of that speed. So ignore the last 11/9 if you want to. That would help a lot. Or just ignore the last chord. Then you have your measure of space. You can modify that a lot of different ways, but the song itself is so easy that don't let these little things hold you up, you know? Chorus, the final chorus, it's super duper easy. It's the same exact thing as chorus number 3. We have a repeat sign. I'm not even gonna go over final chorus. You got it, you can do it. The ending goes 6 6 9 9 2 2 4 4 4 4 4 4 4. Done. That's it. It's that simple. If you're playing the other guitar, let's listen to that ending. Yeah, so. He's actually got some chickas in there. So the rhythm guitar for guitar 1 goes. So it's 8th notes. Chicka 8 8 chicka 8 8 chicka da 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 da. It's done. So the only part that I didn't write out in this whole thing. I'm sorry, I kicked the music stand there. The only thing I didn't write out in this whole thing is the chorus lead guitar. So here's what the lead guitar does for the chorus. But we already have 2 ways of playing chorus. We don't really need a 3rd way. But as a bonus round, I'm not going to write this out. For those of you who are good enough to play it this way, we're going to play it together. So this is going volume. Kind of just doing the same chords from the beginning. This time it doesn't do the suspended chord though. It goes back to a normal major. And then from this position, it's going to do the 6 minor. So let's see, in this position, I just probably listen to what they did again. I actually haven't listened to this yet. I guess it's that voicing of the 6 minor. Oh, they do the high one. So yeah, they just bar 6, go back to that D shape. That kind of idea. So that's the only thing in this song that I didn't write out on the chart, is how the actual, like, how that guy plays the chorus. But I think the other choruses make it feel more like you're actually playing the song, like in a more full way. If you were playing this with a band and you only had one guitar player, I would definitely pick one of the other guitars to play instead of this thing. Because you already do that for the intro, so that's kind of like your extra bright moment. Now we need some more like beef in the chorus, right? So I've said beef a lot in this video. I don't even eat beef. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you did, and smash that like button, all that fun stuff. I will see you next time. Have a good one.